Alright, this is going to be video 17 in the series on how to create an Asteroids game. And this one we're going to create power-ups. As you see, I've got them. This is not how it's going to be in the game, but I did this just to show you how the power-ups are going to themselves work. You see, I've depleted my laser reserves, and I only have one nuke. But if I run into these things, you see, I can start collecting them. Let me grab a shield real quick here before I get shot. And go like that, and see I've collected shield. I boosted up my shield a little bit. Let me get this laser here before it goes off the screen. Oh, I get no such luck. Let's try this other one. There you go. And you see it adds laser power to me. The way it's going to work is when the enemy ship gets destroyed, it's going to sometimes leave a power up for you. But as you can see, my game playing skills don't make that automatically happen. Alright, so we'll get started on that in a second. Alright, what we're going to do first is we're going to create a couple more sprites here. We're going to use this sprite here as one of our power-ups. That's why I wanted to call it PU in the first place. So I'm going to duplicate this twice. I'm just going to select it, and I'm going to go Control D, Control D. And if you want to move these so that they're all kind of with each other, and I'm just going to open them up and just put in the new sprites for the other power-ups here. So I'm going to call this one Shield power-up. Oops, got to spell shield correctly. SPR Shield, get rid of that one. Okay, and I'm going to import an image. The image I'm going to use for shield is this one right here, shield power. Okay, and everything should be okay. It should be centered already because of the way we had the other one. Okay, so now the other one. This is going to be a laser power up. So I'm going to call that laser power up, and give it this lightning bolt one here. Click open. Okay. Okay, so back up, just make sure it's centered. Okay, everything's okay. So I'm gonna, if you want to close a bunch of, all these windows at one time instead of having to go and click all these, if you right-click on any of the toolbars of this one, you can say close all but this, and it'll close every other window except for the one that's open. And then you just click that one. All right, so what I'm going to do is now is I'm going to create a power-up object, a single one that's going to hold all of these sprites here. So just right-click, and we will name it Object Power-Up. Okay, now I'm going to give it a sprite, but it's going to pick one of these sprites in the beginning anyway, so I'm just going to pick one of them. I'm going to pick that shield one. You can pick any one of those three. It really doesn't matter. And in the create event of that object, we are going to have it pick randomly one of those sprites. So I'm just going to go set variables here. Here, I gotta resize this window here so we can see it better. Okay. So set variables. Okay. First thing we're going to have it do is we're going to get it to pick randomly one of those things to be, one of those power-ups to be. So I'm going to go sprite index equals choose, and then I'm going to list the three sprites here. Was it shield? Oh, got to spell shield correctly. Shield PU, SPR laser PU, and SPR nuke PU. Okay. Zoom out here a little bit and spread this wider so you can see the thing there. Sprite index equals choose. SPR shield PU, SPR laser PU, SPR nuke PU. Okay, then what we want to do, we want to have this thing so when it first appears that it just kind of fades in. We don't want it to just pop into existence. We kind of want it to phase in. So we're going to set its sprite index, image alpha, remember, which controls transparency. We're going to set it to 0. Okay. And we're also going to have it so that when it's created, it just kind of it's not moving right when it first starts, but it kind of accelerates up to speed. So I'm going to go speed equals 0. And then we want to just set its direction to a random direction. You may be asking yourself, why are we setting a direction if we're not setting a speed? That's because once it gets going, it'll need a direction to go. If we don't put anything here, it'll always go to the right, which is 0. All right, so now in the step event, we're gonna add event step, and what it's gonna do here, it's gonna fade in. It's gonna fade in and speed up. So that's what I call it. Fade in and speed up. And we don't want it to keep fading in after it's fully visible. So we're gonna basically say if image alpha is less than 1, that means if it's less than 1, it's partially transparent, then we want it to we want image alpha to increase. We're going to go image alpha plus equals, and then we can just set a value here, and if we like it, we can increase it or decrease it. But I like doing this, where I've done it a few times, where I use room speed to kind of allow me to just convert it to seconds here. Room speed times, and then I can tell it how many seconds I want it to fade in. So like in 1 second I can do it, or a second and a half. I think 1 second should be okay. And again, if not, you can change it later on. So image alpha equals 1 over room speed times 1, and this 1 right here determines how many seconds. If I put a 5 there, it'll take 5 seconds to fade in. I'm going to put 3 just so you can see it actually happen. And then same thing with speed here. I'm just going to copy this, all of this, and let me fix the spacing here. And I'm going to go if speed, because I don't want it to just keep speeding up. So if speed is less than, and then here you put its maximum speed that you want. We're going to be running in 60 frames per second. That's going to be kind of fast. So I'm just going to put 2, and then we can tell it how fast we want it to get up to that speed. Now in this case, we'd have to put a 2 here. And I would say we got to change this to speed. Sorry. Okay, what we'd have to do here is put the whatever our speed that we want to be, and we put that here, and then however long we want it to take to get to full speed, that's what we'd put right here. So I'm gonna leave that as 3. So we can test this real quick. I'm gonna open up the room, and I'm gonna select power up here, and just with the Alt button, when it's selected here with the Alt button held down, I'm just gonna click in a few places to make them. Now notice they all look like the shield object right now, but when the game runs, you'll see that they'll randomly be the different power-ups here. And just kind of look at them and see, are they going too fast? Are they fading in too fast? Are they taking too long to fade in? That's sort of thing. Well, to me, it looks like they're going too fast and they're taking too long to fade in. Okay, so I'm going to reset the game. You can see they are taking probably a little bit too long, and you see how they slowly accelerate to their speed. So that looks neat, but they're going too fast. Yeah, they're going too fast and fading in too slow. So let's go adjust our numbers. Open up Power Up Object again, and we will play with these numbers until we get something we like better. So let's change this to say 2 seconds. That might be better. And then our speed is way too fast. So I'm just going to change this to like 0.5. And so whatever I change this to, 0.5, you want to change this one as well. 0.5. Play it again, just kind of test it. And it's still fading in kind of slow. And they are still moving kind of fast, so I'm going to cut that down even more. So I'm going to make it 1 second, and I'm going to, let's go to like 2 on these guys. Play it again. And again, whatever your preference is on that part, you can do that. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Now they're just floating a little slower. That's good. I like that. Okay. All right, so we'll stick with that. And we'll go ahead and just leave those in the room. That way we can test the other parts of it at later times. Let me expose all this. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is figure out, okay, what happens when they leave the room. We don't want them just floating off into space once they leave the room. They don't have a wrap screen on them or anything like that. And just to make it a little more imperative that the guy goes and collect them, we're going to make them so that if they go off the screen, they're going to destroy themselves. So we will do that. We're going to add an event here. Other outside room. And again, just tell it destroy self, and then instance destroy, like that. Okay, alright, so now when they float off the screen, they will just destroy themselves. I'm not going to play it because you won't really see anything happen, so we'll just leave it at that. Alright, so now we got to get it so that the ship will interact with the power-ups so that they give him some health or whatever it is that we're going to do. Okay, so in the ship object, now we need to create a collision. Add event collision with the power-up. Okay, so we'll just call it power-up. Okay. All right, so we wanted to do a few things here. So we want to, first of all, we got to ask which sprite it is, and then different things will happen depending on the sprite that it is. So we'll do that. If, and then we got to figure out, okay, well, what, I can't just put sprite index here because it'll be asking the sprite index for the ship. But if I type this in, other dot sprite index, it's asking the other thing in the collision. Is asking what is the sprite index of the other item in the collision, which would be the power-up. So if other sprite index equals SPR shield PU, then something is going to happen. So all right. So if that happens, this is the shield. We want to give the shield more power. The shield power is controlled within the shield object. So we've got to tell it, okay, we want object shield. And there's a couple different ways to handle the math on this one, but we're just going to do it this way. Object shield, object shield dot strength, and I got to make sure I capitalize it, just the way it needs to be. So we're going to go shield equals the minimum of 100 or object shield dot strength. Oh, if I can spell strength, plus let's say 25. So what this code does is it's basically it's gonna make let's say when he runs into this, shield health is at 90%, and he runs into it. So if we add 25 to 90, it's going to be 115. Okay, we don't want it to go above 115. So at that point, object shield strength plus 25 would be 115. So we tell it, okay, give us whatever's smaller, either 100 or whatever the shield is plus 15. So in that case, it would give us 100. So it would bring our shield up to 100%. Okay. Now we do have a problem with the shield in the fact that if the shield is destroyed, it's gone, and it's not there at all anyway. So this will give us an error because there is no shield. So we have to now add something in this to correct that, to adjust for that. So you go if not instance. Yeah, I should probably put that on another line there so you can read this a little bit easier. Exists object shield. Then we have to create the shield. Instance create layer. We want it to be created at the location of the ship. So we want it to be created at our X and Y. So I just put X and Y, the name of the layer, and the name of the object. I was thinking we need to set the value, the strength, and then we could say object shield dot equals 0. Okay, so this will hopefully cause the ship's the shield to be created and then instantly set it to 0, and then here it would add 25, so it'd give you 25. We've got to get it. We've got to destroy that power up. So we got to go with other instance destroy. Okay. So again, what that does is once all this happens, then it destroys the power up. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to copy all of this and I'm going to put a space here. So okay, so now this time, okay, so the top one is for the shield. This one is going to be for the nuke. Okay. Nuke I think is going to be a little bit easier to do. Okay, so now I want to set a maximum number of nukes you can have. So if nuke is less than 3, let's do that. That's how many maximum you can have. So I can delete the rest of this. I don't need all this here. We can just change this to nuke plus equals 1. Okay, so if nukes are less than 3, he will get 1 nuke. Okay, and then we don't need this line right there because we're not dealing with the strength of the shield, so I can delete that line. But I do need this with other because I wanted to destroy that power up. Otherwise, he'll just if you don't destroy it, then he just ends up adding more and more to it. Okay, so that's all we need with a nuke. And then the last one is the laser. The laser one's going to be fairly easy too. So I'm just going to copy this. It's going to be simple like this one. So we'll go a couple lines down, paste. Here we go, laser right here, changes to laser. And this one's going to be even simpler because we don't have to create anything, and we're not going to put a limit to it, but we're going to put a code similar to what we did up here with the min right there. We're going to set it so that he can only add a certain amount here. Okay, so I can delete all of this, and I'm just going to make this go like this. Laser charge equals min 100, laser charge plus 50. So now that'll add 50 to it. All right, now what I was just thinking about right here is, see, all three of these have a with other, right? So this is sometimes what you have to do. You kind of got to go through your code and could have made that simpler. And the answer in this is yes. All three of these have a with other instance destroy in them. So no matter what kind of object it is, it needs a with other instance destroy. So I'm going to take all of them out. And then the last one. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. Go down to the next set. Delete this one. And then down here, this one here, I'm going to copy. This one I'm going to cut, so Control X, and then below, right here, this will destroy everything, and this we can get rid of some of the spacing on here. So regardless of which one it is, all of them will be destroyed here. Okay, so let's test this. I'm going to go ahead and run it, and I should still have my power-ups floating around on the screen. Okay, nuke. See, there's a nuke down there, and let's test it works. Make sure it works. Yep, got a nuke. Okay, so now let's damage ourselves with a rocket there. Oop. Okay, see, there goes my laser. It's going down. Okay, then there you go. See, the laser shoots up. Okay, now I gotta see if I can get shot by. Hold still here. Okay, there goes part of my shield, and then I can hit that shield, and my shield went up. Okay, so it works. All right, let's close that. Okay, now the only thing we need left to do here is we got to get it so that when the enemy ship is destroyed, it will release one of those every so often. Okay, so, and again, that's going to be kind of hard to test, so you'll just have to trust me that it works. All right, so in the enemy ship, let's open it up. You go to the destroy event right there. Zoom in here, and let's open this up here so we can see. All we're going to do is right here, this is when it explodes, and we're going to have it create one of the power-up objects. So we're going to use a kind of a dice roll function. We're going to say if floor random four equals 0. What this does is it basically picks a random number between 0 and 4 and then rounds it down to the next lower integer. So the numbers you're going to end up with are either going to be 0, 1, 2, or 3. Because when you do a random, it doesn't ever land on 4. It'll go 0 all the way up to right up to 4, but not hit 4. So the number you're going to get is anywhere from 0 to 3.999999, and whatever the number that is, it'll send that down to the next integer. So 3.999 would become 3. 2.75 would become 2. And if that number happens to be 0, it gives you basically it's a 1 in 4 chance. So if it equals 0, that means once roughly out of every 4 times, not every 4 times, but by chance every 4 times, then you want it to create the power up. Instance create layer, and you want it to create it where it is, where the ship is, and on the instances layer object, what do I call it, power up. Let's move this out a little bit like that. So again, this is hard to test, just trust me, it'll work. So now in the game, finish it up here, we will go to the room here and we will use our shift key and select all of our power-ups here and delete them. This should be it with the game. Now I may put another video out doing another power-up, doing a guided missile that that may or may not come sometime soon, but just so stay tuned. Let's see if we can get to the bad guy to produce a power-up for us. Oh, there he is. Let's see if we can. Nope, no power-up that time. Come on, let's try another one. And again, just because it says 1 in 4 chance doesn't mean it's always going to do it. Nope. In fact, it can go 100 times with that. There we go. I created one. See, now I can go get some more laser here. See, now I got some laser. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining me in this. Hopefully you were successful in making this game. If you have any problems with it, just talk to me in class or leave a comment in the comments section, or you can send me an email.